In the beginning, it feels unreal, like something out of a movie. The intense attention, the constant messages, the compliments that feel tailor-made, the surprise gifts, the public declarations, the deep eye contact that says, "You're everything." But what begins as intoxicating adoration can turn into suffocating control. Love bombing isn't romance. It's manipulation disguised as devotion. It happens quickly, intensely, and leaves its target emotionally dependent, confused, and often isolated. This is not just a bad relationship. It's a calculated strategy, one designed to break down defenses, create false intimacy, and make leaving feel impossible. Understanding love. Bombing, the trap wrapped in affection. Love bombing is a psychological manipulation tactic where someone overwhelms another with extreme displays of affection and attention to gain control. This isn't genuine love. It's an artificial rush used to blind and bind. A manipulator studies what you crave: validation, safety, connection, admiration. Then they reflect it all back in exaggerated, addictive doses. Compliments come fast. Promises are made too early. You're told you're soulmates. Days feel like months. Boundaries dissolve. This isn't spontaneity. It's strategy. The manipulator wants to bypass your critical thinking by flooding your brain with dopamine and oxytocin, chemicals that create bonding and trust. Once emotional dependency sets in, they shift. Affection turns to criticism. Availability turns to distance. You begin chasing the high of the early phase, believing you did something wrong to lose it. This confusion is intentional. The psychological hooks, why it's so hard to walk away. Love bombing works because it doesn't feel like abuse. It feels like a miracle. That's why it's so hard to identify in the moment. It hits the most vulnerable places, often those formed in childhood or from past trauma. The manipulator moves quickly to become essential. They may make you feel seen, like never before. They shower you with messages, attention, and constant validation. Over time, they become the center of your emotional world. Then the shift begins, subtle at first. Praise becomes passive-aggressive remarks. "You're perfect" becomes, "You're too sensitive." You begin doubting your own memory, your own worth, your own instincts. The cycle of reward and punishment mimics addiction. The brain craves the rush of early affection, and you become willing to endure mistreatment just to feel it again. This is how control deepens. This is how dependency forms. Red flags that feel like romance. Many signs of love bombing are misread as intensity or passion, but beneath the surface, they're signals of danger. Extreme affection early on, saying, "I love you" within days. Talking about moving in, marriage, or forever far too soon. Constant communication, a flood of texts, calls, and check-ins that don't allow space to breathe or think. Over-the-top compliments. "You're not just great, you're perfect. You're the best thing that's ever happened." Gifts and grand gestures, lavish attention or expensive items that create a sense of debt or guilt. Rushing intimacy, pushing for deep emotional or physical connection before trust is truly built. Testing loyalty, framing others as threats, isolating you from friends and family. These behaviors aren't love. They're tools used to create dependency, remove boundaries, and control your emotional world. The manipulator's playbook: control disguised as devotion. Once the manipulator senses emotional investment, the mask begins to slip. The praise stops. The affection fades. The criticism creeps in. You're too sensitive. You don't try hard enough. You're overreacting. They become distant, cold, or angry. But then they return with sudden affection to keep the hope alive. The cycle repeats. Idealization, devaluation, and intermittent reinforcement. You begin to believe their mood changes are your fault. You work harder to be enough again. This confusion is by design. It keeps you occupied, trying to earn back a love that was never real. Sometimes they pull away completely, then come back. Sometimes they threaten to leave if you set boundaries. Sometimes they cry, beg, apologize, only to repeat the cycle once trust is regained. This is emotional warfare wrapped in romance. Why victims stay and why that's not weakness. Leaving isn't easy when love bombing turns into emotional captivity. The early phase was intense. It felt real. It felt like hope. Letting go of that dream is painful, even if the reality has turned toxic. There's also shame. People may say, "Why didn't you see it?" But manipulation is crafted to be invisible. The fault never lies with the person manipulated. The fault lies with the one who used love as a weapon. Many victims stay because they believe love requires sacrifice. They may be trauma bonded, stuck in a loop of reward and punishment. They may fear being alone, or they may not know what healthy love even looks like. Leaving isn't a failure. It's an act of courage. It's reclaiming self-worth in a space designed to erase it. Reclaiming power, steps toward freedom and healing. Escaping love bombing is a process, not a single decision. The first step is recognizing what's happening. Naming the behavior helps break the spell. 1. Set emotional distance. Even before leaving physically, start detaching emotionally. Journal the behaviors, reread messages with clarity, document inconsistencies. This brings logic into a space dominated by confusion. 2. Reconnect with your support system. Isolation is part of the trap. Reach out to friends, family, or therapists, even if the manipulator made you feel like they're the only one who truly cares. This is the lie that keeps you trapped. 3. Learn about narcissistic and abusive dynamics. Knowledge is power. Reading about manipulation helps build a framework. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You were targeted. 4. Cut off contact if possible. Love bombers often return to regain control. No contact, or limited contact if children are involved, creates the space needed to heal without reopening wounds. 5. Rebuild self-trust. The manipulator's goal was to make you doubt yourself. Start by listening to your inner voice again. Honor it. Validate it. You're not weak. You survived a psychological storm. You are not what was done to you. The aftermath of love bombing can feel like waking from a dream that turned into a nightmare. But emerging from it isn't a sign of failure. It's a return to truth. Genuine love doesn't confuse. It doesn't rush. It doesn't isolate. It doesn't use affection as currency or control. Love feels safe, grounded. It honors space and boundaries. To anyone who has lived through love bombing, it wasn't your fault. You were targeted, not chosen. But what was used to break you, your empathy, your openness, your hope, can become the very things that help you heal. Healing is not about forgetting. It's about remembering your power. It's about reclaiming your voice, your space, your future. And it begins with this truth. Real love never needs to arrive, like a storm to be felt deeply.